Welcome to the raw and uncensored Ambitious Podcast. During our time here together, I will be instilling all of the strength, power, and determination you will need to use the very stones thrown at you to build your ultimate empire. We will redefine the word bitch from the derogatory to the acronym being in total control of herself. So let's adjust our crowns and prepare to live life ambitiously. Yeah, here I am, the original HBIC, Katie motherfucking Boyd. And on today's episode of the Ambitious Podcast, we're going to be talking about something that I have been pondering about a lot lately. And I've had a lot of people reach out to me and ask me this question because there's been this surge. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's been a surge on social media about what constitutes a high value woman and also what constitutes a high value man. And I've been having conversations about this with my husband, Matt. He's going to be coming on the podcast because we just experienced, it was lovely, our 10-year wedding anniversary. And of course, when you go through a milestone like that, if you're a normal fucking human being, which, I don't put it past too many people, but you usually talk about like, wow, look where we came from and look how far we've come and look what we've accomplished. And now what's our dreams going forward? So you do a lot of reflection and then you do a lot of planning around these milestone times. And I was talking to him, we were out for dinner for our anniversary, about why did you fall in love with me? Like, what made me so valuable to you when you could have had so many other women? And I talked to him also about what attracted me to him. Now, he's not here on the podcast today, but we are going to be talking about what we've learned in an upcoming podcast in the last 10 years of our relationship, just to kind of just have a happy podcast, but also I want to inspire other people here who listen to this podcast because I have so many people that reach out to me and they're like, where can I find a Matt? Where can I find a Matt? Where are all the Matts in the world hiding? And then I have to say to them, because I'm going to see you next Tuesday, why would someone who is like my husband want someone like you? And I know right now, wherever you are listening to this podcast, you're like clutching your pearls like, whoa, Katie is going to be savage today. It's not that I'm here to be savage, and it's not that I think that I'm better than anyone by any means, but there's a lot of things about me that I bring to the table as a woman that so many other women that I have worked with in the past, and I know, and they're friends of mine and colleagues and coworkers and acquaintances, that they want, let's just say, a 10, okay? They want a man who's a 10, but they're showing up in the world as a 4. Yeah. And I'm not talking about just your looks. Your looks are, like, in my opinion, the lowest criteria, because if you really know my type, Matt was not my type. And he is such a nice guy that I was kind of like, this guy's got to be up to something. He's got to be some kind of like an axe murderer or a pedo or some freako. Because I'm like, he's just too nice and he's too perfect and he looks so good on paper and he's sweet and kind. Does he want to wear my skin like last year's Versace? Now I'm still here and I still have my skin, thank God. So I don't think that's the issue. But I get these questions and these comments all the time on my social media, via email. Just friends will say this to me and I'll be like, dude, why do you think that you deserve a 10 when you have no self-respect, no self-esteem? You don't really bring much to the table. And that's why I wanted to do this podcast. I want to talk about what a high value woman acts like, looks like, how she shows up. A lot of these things are things that I try to do every day on a daily basis. I am not perfect by any means, so it doesn't always happen, but I really want to instill these things in you. And even if you're married or in a relationship, you can always become better. And here's the deal too. So many women that have worked with me over the years, and remember, I've been doing this for 25 years. So I've coached tens of thousands of women over my expansive career. And I cannot tell you how many women that I've coached, they came to me kind of fucked up, some of them were more fucked up than soup sandwich. And they came to me and we worked together and we did all these amazing things together. And then all of a sudden they looked at their partner and they were like, this is not good. Because if you're not growing together, the relationship is dying. And I know that a lot of you don't want to hear that out there, but it's the damn truth. You guys know that you come here for the truth only. I spit truth. If you like it, you like it. You don't, you don't. I don't give a fuck either way. Does not matter to me. But this is my purpose in life, is to kind of slap people upside the head and be like, yo, you need to wake up. Because so many people come to me and they're like, I want to be successful like you. I want to have a business like yours. I want to do a podcast. I want to write a book. I want to have a wellness center like you. I want to do healing work. I want to speak on major stages. But they don't realize like the work that I had to do and the sacrifices I had to make and the discipline that I have had to have over the last 25 years of my life. And I'm still not where I desire to be. I'm so far away from the person I desire to be, but I continuously work my titties off every day to get a little bit closer to be that aspirational Katie figure. So if you want a 10, you got to show up like a 10. Can't show up like a sloppy fucking cum dumpster. Okay. You gotta show up like a 10 if you want to attract a 10, and you got to know what you desire in a mate, and you need to know what you desire for you as your future evolution of yourself. Because I've been saying a lot on my app, on the podcast, to my coaching clients, I really do believe that when you die, the most scary thing, even if you believe in heaven or hell, okay, I think this is scarier than going to hell. This is real deal, what I'm saying to you right now. I believe that you will meet the person that you could have been if only you showed up in your power. And that freaks me the fuck out. And that's why every day I try to become a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. So I hope you're here for this conversation. If what I say triggers you and what I say makes you feel some sort of way, don't get mad at me. Get mad at yourself. Take the finger that you're pointing at me and point it back at yourself and say, okay, why is Katie's words triggering me? 100% of the time when people are triggered, it's not because of what the person's saying. It's because secretly, on a very soul conscious level, you know that what I'm saying is true and you are not living up to your ambitious potential. So I don't want to fucking hear it from you. Listen to the podcast and do better. And if you need someone to help coach you through that, reach out to me. I would love to have a conversation, get on a discovery call, see if coaching one-on-one in a mentorship container would help you become a higher value woman. Okay, so let's get into this. I have a bunch of notes because I did a ton of research, of course. I don't think that sometimes people realize like how much research goes into podcasting, unless you're just some maniac and you think you could just like go on a podcast and whip your titties out and just talk shit, which sometimes I do that. But mostly I research because I want to bring the best information and, you know, real motivation and real inspiration. Okay, so a high value woman, she's actually valuable to herself. So we're not talking about becoming high value for others. We're talking about you become high value for yourself, and then you attract the people in your life that are also vibrating at your vibrational frequency. So let's just say your vibrational frequency, you're a 4, and your vibrational frequency is like 100. You're not going to attract a 10 with a vibrational frequency of 1,000. The 10s that are vibrating at 1,000, and I'm just obviously throwing out numbers just to help you hear me recognize what I'm saying a little bit deeper. If you are wanting a 10, the 10s are vibrating at 10 levels. So that's why you see men, for sake of conversation, with women who are at their level. Sometimes women are attracted to men for different reasons. You know, you may be like, oh my God, what does this girl want with this old guy? She must be a gold digger. Not everyone is doing it for that reason. I mean, there are a lot of busted ass hoes out there. Let me tell you, I know a lot of them, but maybe she's attracted to, he's an amazing businesswoman. He's an amazing businessman and he's inspirational. Or maybe he helps her feel safe and secure. It's not always about looks and the size of the Le Package Total, if you know what I'm saying. Okay. It can be deeper than that. Same thing with men. I see a lot of hot motherfuckers with like not that hot chicks, but there's something about that girl that they love. Maybe it's her sense of humor. Maybe she's just so kind, so intelligent, so motivational, inspirational. I don't know what it is, but there has to be something that attracts you. And if you're cycling at a 4, you can't get a 10. Bottom line, guys, bottom line. So a high value woman is valuable to herself and she stands back for nobody, not even herself. So she's not going to let society, the people around her, the naysayers, the judgmental fuck faces, the queef burgers, all these people talk shit and her say, well, maybe they're right. You guys, stop fucking listening to people who you would not trade lives with. Okay. So many of you people are listening to business advice from people who have never made a fucking dime in their lives. You're listening to health advice from people who are not healthy. You're listening about money from someone who's never made a fucking red cent, right? I get so aggravated with that. You got to listen to that still small voice inside of yourself. That is the most important thing. And that's what high value women do. And if you say to me, well, Katie, everyone has value. Yeah, everyone has value. But people who are cycling at higher vibrational frequencies and they're working on themselves and they're disciplined and they're doing the things are going to bring a lot more value than the person who's like, bedridden because they haven't worked out since the Reagan administration and they just eat hot Takis all day and their boyfriends, wash their fupas with a hot cloth. Okay. A la 600-pound life on TLC, wherever the show is. I do love Dr. Nawarian. You could have lost 30 pounds by now if you just listened to me. That's my best Dr. Now impersonation. So she's unbothered by the social criteria of what a quality woman should be. So she's not listening like if guys are like, you got to have big tits, you got to have a BBL, you got to have your lips done, you got to have a fucking facelift, you have to have extensions down to your butt crack, you have to do this, you have to do that. Like that, we're not listening to social and society's criteria for what we are getting put on us to say this is what a high value woman is. We're listening to ourselves. Okay. So instead, a high value woman has her own set of mile markers and she focuses on those to measure her own progress in becoming the best version of herself. Really, what a high value woman is she is the HBIC of her ambitious life. There's no difference between me talking about being ambitious and being a high value person, a high value woman, a high value man, whatever. Okay. So a high value lady does not possess any toxic personality traits like jealousy, competitiveness, perfectionism, or selfishness. It's because she's devoid of these lesser qualities that a quality woman is so admired by others who seek her out. So remember, we all have, because we're humans, we all have jealousy and competitiveness and perfectionism and selfishness. That's being a human, but you know that you have those things and therefore you work on those things. Okay. A high value woman's dedication to her self-development and self-love are what makes others notice her and instantly are magnetized and drawn to her. She's a beacon of light in a dark world, inspiring others with how she navigates her journey. Being a high value woman isn't something others can decide for you or identify you as being. Instead, it's something you realize about yourself, increasing the way you value yourself. Because, honeys, how is other people supposed to value you when you don't even fucking value yourself? I cannot tell you how many women that I coach that are with the dredges of society of men. And they're such beautiful, kind, smart, ambitious women. And they just fall for this malarkey. These guys don't take them out to dinner. There's no chivalry. They won't even open a car door for them. They won't even pull out a seat at a table. They don't pay for them to go to dinner. They don't ever even say nice things. Like I have people in my life that I've never heard their husbands ever say, I love you, or you're beautiful, or kiss them, or anything in front of anyone. And I'll say to them, like, how does he act behind closed doors? And they're like, this is the baseline. And I'm like, what happened in your life that you feel like that's what you deserve? And I'm only saying this because I used to be a low value woman. I was, dating everybody and their brother. I was fucking drunk all the time. I was a skank. I was just a hot fucking mess. And I realize now as I'm in my 40s, I had such low self-esteem. And I just really was always like looking for love. Looking for nub in all the wrong places, as Eddie Murphy would say on Saturday Night Live when he was dressed as Gumby. Okay. I was a skank. I was a hoe. I was a low value woman. And it took me years of abusive relationships and cheating and stealing and, crazy mental abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, financial abuse. I mean, I could write a book just about the ex-boyfriends that I've had. Okay. I realize now that I have this husband who just respects the shit out of me. That, oh my God, like I had low self-esteem. And it was through my self-development journey that brought me to where I am now as a high-value woman. And I'm continuously and constantly working on being better every day, being a better wife, being a better coach, being a better mentor, showing up in the world for my family, my friends, in a strong and powerful way. So I'm only saying these things to you because I was once a low-value woman. And I think a lot of you out there that are listening feel probably low value right now, and you don't have to be. You can change your mind and you can decide to be a new person any day of the week. Okay. So what makes being a high value woman desirable? So a high value woman is very attractive to men and also to other women who admire the superior qualities of this woman. I have so many friends that are like, oh my God, I like have a girl crush on you. Like, I love you so much. Like, I aspire to be like you. I admire you. I admire your relationship with your husband. I admire the work that you do, the way you carry yourself, how strong you are, all those things. So it's not just about like getting a dude to bang you. I'm not talking about that. I mean, obviously, yes, if you're into guys, it's nice to have a man look at you and say, wow, she's got her shit together. I would love to wife her up. I'd love to have babies with her. She's amazing. But it's also, in my opinion, cooler if other women look up to you that way. So her self-sufficiency principles and inspiration are the most desirable to other people. And other qualities that make high-value women so prized include, so I'm going to go down the gamut. Her confidence. Okay, so high-value women have confidence. Her truthful behavior. They're truthful no matter what. They say they spit truth and they're not afraid to get canceled. They're not afraid for people to disagree with them. They just are just truth spitters. She's dedicated to causes that she loves, you know, whether it's raising money for St. Jude's Children's Home or becoming involved in local politics. She cares about other people. She has kindness and she's empathetic, which is so important, especially in this day and age. She's outspoken, but she's only outspoken when her statements have actual factual backing. So many people on social media and so many people just in general, they don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. And they just word vomit, word salad, diarrhea, cha-cha-cha out of their fucking pie holes. And they don't even know what they're saying. And half the shit that they say is blatant lies, but they just are listening to TikTok and listening to social media and listening to their fucking ding-dong friends that also don't know what the fuck that they're talking about. And outspokenness is important when you know what you're talking about. She doesn't overreact. And when she's corrected on something, she knows that she's wrong and she will not get mad at you. So like you may do something, say something, and someone maybe say, you know, that wasn't really cool or whatever. You're not going to go blow the roof off the house. You're going to be like, you know what? I agree with you. And I shouldn't have done it that way. And I'm sorry. And she helps those around her and she lifts them up and she helps raise them to greatness. An amazing human, no matter if it's a woman or a man, when they achieve success, they take people with them. They help other people. They mentor other people. They write books. They do podcasts. They have YouTube videos. They may have communities that they build that they actually will help instill in other people the proper way to live and the best way to evolve and level up. So all that's nice, but how do we become this high value woman? That's what everyone really wants to know. So aiming to become this type of woman is definitely an amazing goal to have in your life, but there's no external standard or checklist that guarantees that you'll succeed in this quest. Instead, being a high value woman is truly a journey that speaks to your heart and soul and influences how you see yourself and how you show up in the world. And I want you all out there in a bitch's land to remember that a high value individual isn't about the opinions of others. I want to keep reiterating this throughout the podcast. It's not about your looks or your money or how intelligent you are. However, there are a few steps that you can take to help steer you along this journey of becoming better, evolving, leveling up, and becoming that high value woman that you maybe have felt in the past is so elusive. So the first thing when you're on that journey is you want to discover and embrace what makes you unique. High value women, they don't run with the crowd. You'll see them in a sea of white sheep, and they will be the black sheep. They will be the lone wolf. They will be an alpha. Okay. Most high value women are powerful and strong like that. And they're not going to just listen and follow the crowd and jump off the fucking side of the cliff like all the rest of the lemmings. And I hate to say it, I'm going to say it. 98% of this human population are a bunch of fucking sheeple. They're lemmings, and they just try to fit in to have people so-called like them. But there's an old Kurt Cobain quote that says, like, I would rather be hated for who I am than loved for who I'm not. And obviously it's not the direct quote, but you get the gist. I am so like that. Like, you either love me or you fucking hate me. There is no in between. And guess what? I have been in this body for 43 years with this brain, and I fucking am okay with that. I used to hate when people didn't like me. It used to make me so uncomfortable, and it would make me so sad. And I could have 1,000 people in a room saying I was the best thing since sliced bread, and one person doesn't like me, and I will try my hardest to make that one person like me, and I will forget all the rest of the people. That's bullshit. Now you don't like me. I actually love when people don't like me. I love when people hate on me, because I know that I'm doing the right thing. I know I'm doing God's work. I know that it's difficult to show up every day the way I do, but I know that what is the alternative? Be a fucking sheeple? No fucking thank you. They honor those around them who do well, while also having high regards for themselves. So they don't get jealous, like if other people are, doing more or the most or having amazing things happen to them in their lives. They honor that. They're like, good for you. Like, if you know me, like, you guys know I'm a fucking girl's girl. Like, if you come into my studio, to my wellness center, you feel so loved, so appreciated. You feel like you're part of something bigger than yourself. Same thing with my Ambitious app. The girls just cheer each other on. I cheer everybody on. We share our big wins. And even if I maybe don't feel like I'm winning that week, I don't care. I'm still going to honor those people, but I am going to keep myself in high regards. So when other people are doing great things and I'm not, I have to say to myself, okay, what am I not doing in my life to achieve the things that I want to achieve? And mostly I'm being distracted by shit that's just, shiny object syndrome. The next thing is they associate with people who help them, not those who tear them down. I can't tell you how many women I coach that have the worst friend group I've ever seen. I'm like, why would you even hang out with these people? I wouldn't even fart on them. I wouldn't even let them pull my finger, honest to God. Like, these people are like lowlifes. They are trash. They're going nowhere, and they talk shit about you. Why do you want to be with someone who talks shit to your face, who treats you like trash? I've had a lot of friends like that in the past, and they are no longer my friends. And still to this day, they will always try in some way, whether it's through another friend or if they're stupid husbands, they will try to reach out to me and weasel their way back in. And I'm like, no, thank you. No fucking thank you, because a leopard doesn't change its spots. So you were a trash bag 4 years ago. You're probably still a trash bag now. I don't have time for you. They know that they're worthy of respect, and they choose not to tolerate those who disrespect them. You guys, people show you who they are the first time. Why do you think it's going to be any different the 10th, the 11th, the 50th time? It does not make sense to me. People show you who they are the first time. Let them fucking show you and take notice, and then do what's appropriate. High value women engage in challenging tasks to help you believe in your abilities with each success. So they do hard things, because when they do hard things, that is what builds the muscle of self-discipline, self-respect, self-confidence, self-esteem, and self-worth. Okay? None of that shit comes from the outside. It only comes from the inside. And the only way that you can experience those things that I just said is doing hard, difficult things and showing your brain and showing the world and showing the universe that you can do these things. And the more you flex that muscle, the stronger you become. And then the less that you'll tolerate mediocrity in your life. They remember that they are worthy of love. This is huge. And it's up to them to give themselves the love that they desire, so that they will know when others are taking it and not returning it. So many people are so starved for self-love. They look in the mirror, they hate themselves, they call themselves losers, they call themselves stupid, they have imposter syndrome. They'll say, well, who am I to do this and who am I to do that? And like, good things don't happen to people like me and all this shit. So if you don't have self-love, how can someone else love you? I never understood that. So many people end their marriages in divorce not because the other person, but because they didn't love themselves. So they chose the wrong person to get married to. And then when they actually start to gain some self-esteem through doing hard things, through being disciplined and sacrificing, the person that they marry doesn't seem so great to them anymore because they're like, I cannot tell you how many women I coach, and I'm in my coaching container with them. And I say to them, like they're going through a divorce, I say, would the you that you are now have married that person back then? If you were then who you are now? And 100% say, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But at the moment when they've met this person, their self-esteem, confidence, self-worth, etc., was so low. And how the hell do you know if people aren't giving you what you deserve when you don't even give yourself what you fucking deserve? It doesn't make sense to me. Wake the fuck up. High value women own their strength and they know that they don't need to be with people to be happy. Y'all, I am happiest, I hate to say this, when I am alone. Like when I'm in my garden, or I'm reading, or I'm watching a YouTube video, or I'm working out, or I'm cleaning up my house, or I'm working on a project. Like, I don't need other people to make me feel good and to validate who I am. Now, do I love people and I love to be around them? Absolutely. But I am okay being alone. I never was okay being alone before. I used to jump from relationship to relationship to relationship, just looking for some semblance of someone to love me and validate my worth. And that's exhausting and it's soul crushing. And that's why I made so many bad decisions with men in the past, right? High value women inspire others while also inspiring themselves. They practice cultivating positive mindset, which is so important. I cannot tell you how many people I know that have shit lives. And then I say to them, have you ever thought that your shitty life is coming from the thoughts that you think and the words that you say? And people like look at me like, what? I'm like, yeah. You don't have any self-esteem, so why should anybody have self-esteem in you? It doesn't make sense. They value and respect in all spheres of their lives, including setting barriers, having amazing self-care, who they're having companionship with, what kind of careers they're having, and their boundaries. All those things are impeccable in their lives. They also develop emotional maturity and empathy, which allows them to control themselves better. I cannot tell you how many women who are 10, 15, 20 years older than me that are so emotionally immature that so many of these women have gotten stunted almost at like 16, 17, 18 years old, and they never, ever, 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 ever change. And then they wonder why their lives are a bag of smashed assholes because they are the ones that are making this happen. They also grow in their own integrity by ensuring what they say always aligns with what they do. They don't just talk the talk, they walk the walk. That's why when people do 828P, my 28-day transformation program in my app, we always say, my word is my law and my self-worth depends on it. So if you say you're going to do something, if you say you're going to show up a certain way, if you say you're going to act a certain way, you're going to do certain things and you don't do them, that chips away daily at your self-worth until you are just a husk, a dried out husk. And so many women on this earth are just living their husky, dried out husk lives. I don't even know what else to say about it. They are just drier than a cat's ass. I want to be juicy. I want to be full of life. I want to be bursting at the seams. That's what I want for my life. They know that they have a finite amount of energy every day, and they reserve that energy for meaningful relationships that add true value to their lives. True value. So important. This is a huge one. They take care of their feminine energy. And this doesn't matter how you identify on the sexual spectrum. I don't care. Don't fucking come to me and be like, well, I identify as this and these are my pronouns. I don't give a fuck. I'm just talking about in general. Okay. So they take care of their feminine energy and they learn about wisdom. They engage in daily self-care and they develop their intuition deeper because all those things are very divinely feminine. This is a big one. This is one of my worst, hardest ones. I'm working on it daily. They ask for help when they need it, and they give it freely when they can. I can give help when I can and more, and I have a hard time asking for help. I think it's because, I couldn't ask people for help a lot when I was growing up, so I just learned to be super hyper vigilant and do things on my own, which is very masculine energy. It's actually toxic masculinity. And because we all have that yin and yang in us, we have the masculine, we have the feminine. But I just do better when I'm more in my feminine energy. They love themselves always, no matter what. So if they gain weight, lose weight, if they make a lot of money, they don't make money, whatever, they're always going to love themselves unequivocally. And they always learn to do for themselves by developing skills and knowledge instead of waiting for other people to do it for them. It's great to have people to help you, but let me tell you, it's so much nicer. So much nicer than, waiting for someone else to do it. Just do it for yourself, but just don't be hypervigilant in it and toxically masculine. So I do want to talk about how to find a high value woman. I am going to save that for when Matt comes on the podcast because I we were talking about it. I wrote down some notes, but I don't want to talk for him. And, Big Bernard, he does a good podcast. He's a funny bastard. So we'll have him on in a couple weeks. Now I want to talk about 15 traits and characteristics of a high value woman. Okay. So number 1, independence. Like I'm going to say again, being a high value woman is being the epitome of ambitious. So a high value woman isn't dependent on anyone. She is independent and fully self-sufficient. While she can and does rely on her inner circle, she also knows that she's got this. The woman follows her true north on her own life's journey, and she knows that she's the only one that's responsible for making her own decisions, and she doesn't financially depend on a family member or family, friends, or a romantic partner. She owns herself. She's her own person through and through. Now, while you may think that a too much independent woman is a lone wolf who pushes people away, that isn't true. Instead, a high value woman knows that her independence gives her freedom to live her life the way that she desires, and she only answers to herself. She knows that she can always stand on her own 2 feet, and she knows that asking for help is not a sign of weakness. And there's power and freedom in actually having the audacity to ask people for help when she needs it. Now, listen, I feel that in my bones. I've always been hyper independent, but listen, it's okay to also depend on a man. I depend on my husband for so many things, and that doesn't make me weak. It actually makes me strong because he's really good at things that I'm not good at, just like I'm really good at things that he's not good at. And that's why having a romantic relationship with 2 high valued people is so beautiful, and it's so aspirational, and it's so admirable. Because so many people want what those people have. And what they don't understand is all they have to do to become that person is to become that person. And then they will attract their likeness. So if you're with a person right now that's not a high value man for sake of conversation or a high value, whatever you're into, it's because you're not being high value and you're making poor decisions. Number 2, she's confident. A high value woman is confident, and it's common for men and other women to be intimidated by this or nervous when this high value individual is around. Some might also say she's overly confident, conceited, audacious, presumptuous, or arrogant, but that's just not true. A woman who is truly confident and is self-assured and self-assertive, she is also comfortable in her own skin, and that shows in her body language, her tone of voice, how she speaks, how she walks and works a room, and it illustrates her confidence. And since a high value woman knows who she is, she knows exactly what she is capable of. She owns her weaknesses and her strengths. And obviously, all people, including high value women, can sometimes second guess themselves. They usually can navigate out of that self-doubt bubble with ease and strength and tenacity and discipline. So that's pretty dope, right? Who doesn't want to be that person? Who doesn't want to be that person? So yes, there are people out there that are egotistical and conceited and whatever, but don't be intimidated by a high value woman. Don't be jealous. Don't be hating, because the reason why you're jealous and you're hating and you're talking shit is because you know that you are not up to that level. So instead, take that energy that you would use to tear her down or gossip about her and actually put it into yourself, making yourself a better person. Number 3, she has healthy self-esteem and she knows that she's worthy of all things. She has healthy self-esteem, meaning she has a balanced and accurate view of herself. She's self-aware. She sees herself clearly through her own eyes, while knowing that that's a biased yet realistic and appreciative view, and also how others see her. A high-value woman feels very good about herself, and she knows her worth, and she isn't dependent on external validation. After all, a queen knows not to value the opinion of sheep, right? While a compliment from a lover or a friend or a family member or a boss is nice, she always turns inward for her own validation. Like sometimes, I gained 40 pounds during COVID, which I'm working right now on getting rid of through my A28P program. And my husband will always say to me, Katie, you're so beautiful just the way you are. I love you just like this. Don't change. I just love you. Now, I am so grateful that my husband will love me if I'm ripped or if I'm, Bar the elephant. Okay. I know that he will love me for all of the different, and listen, we're going to get old. I'm not going to look like the way I look. I don't look like the way I looked 15 years ago. Right. So that's beautiful. I love that. But sometimes I look at him and I laugh because I'm like, I don't feel good about myself. So you can tell me that I'm hot and gorgeous and wonderful all damn day, but I have to feel that about myself. And that is why I chose to get back on the baloney pony, get back on A28P, drop these 40 pounds and step back into my power, because I know when I look at myself in the mirror and I don't feel confident in myself, I don't want to go on TV. I don't want to go on YouTube. I don't want to show my face. I don't want to take pictures of myself. I don't want to be in pictures. And I don't live like that. So that's not who I am. So it's only me that is going to change it, right? Number 4, she's smart. She's intelligent. She's witty. A high value woman must be intelligent, smart, and witty. She's someone you can have a deep, meaningful conversation with. And she's also someone who can make you laugh. The high value woman has a great sense of humor, and sense of humor is actually a sign of intelligence. She knows when to zing someone, she knows when to be sarcastic, and when to crack a joke without making the recipient feel bad about themselves. A punchline is always delivered at the right time and with the right tone, and you'll be utterly charmed by this high value woman, right? So true. I hate small talk. If you talk to me, if you email me, if you text me, if you're anywhere near me, I don't want to talk about the weather. I don't want to talk about the Patriots. I want to talk about real deep shit. Period. The next one is she values growth and development. A high value woman knows that she's not perfect, and she's more than okay with that. She accepts completely and utterly that she is imperfectly perfect and perfectly imperfect. And she also knows that there's always room for evolution, leveling up, and self-improvement and self-development. And personal growth is so important to her. To become the best version of herself that she can be is her main objective. She has a growth mindset. And this woman, obviously, she appreciates her comfort zone, but also knows that the only way to progress to the next level is to get uncomfortable. She desires deeply to grow in all aspects of her life, spiritually, emotionally, intellectually, financially, physically, all of it. She daily practices self-reflection and mindfulness, and she journals and she works on her inner self. She learns new skills, always to evolve and discover the next version of herself. And she is not putting in any of this hard work for anyone except herself. And she fully owns her self-development journey. Abso-fucking-lutely. And that's like one of the biggest things for me, because that's like what I do for a living, is self-development, helping people become their best selves in all aspects. What we call it in Bitches is the 6 life makers, right? Number 6, she's responsible and you can count on her. This is so huge, guys. Especially nowadays, I feel like you really can't trust people. You really can't count on people. Most people like cancel on you the last minute. They squander your time. They, don't respect you, and they never hold themselves accountable for the wrongdoings. And I feel like in this day and age, we need more accountable, responsible women more than ever. And there's just truly something magical when a woman takes responsibility for her life and her decisions and her actions. A high value woman always owns up to her mistakes and is always willing to apologize when necessary, and always, always, always puts in the work to come to a solution or a resolution, depending on which one is needed. She doesn't just nitpick and fight just because she can. She doesn't shift the blame. She doesn't shame people. She doesn't project onto others. And instead, she sees the situation for what it really is. And she takes accountability for her part in what went right and what also went wrong. That's huge. Number 7, she's emotionally intelligent. I did a podcast way back when about EQ versus IQ, and this is so important. Emotional intelligence is everything. A high value woman is mature, and she has EI, or emotional intelligence. She understands the complex world of her emotions and those of others around her. She's so in tune with what she feels. She can identify and acknowledge that feeling and deal with it in healthy ways. There's no over or under reactions. Okay. There's no explosions of rage. There's no silliness. There's no silent treatment. She acts in a moment. She does not react, which means that her emotions and feelings do not control her. Only she is in control of all those things. She isn't moody. She's not unpredictable. And she creates safe spaces for herself and others. She is truly a safe haven where people can feel without fear of being criticized. So big, so big. And I'm going to say, in the same vein of the last couple podcasts that we've done, I did 3 about boundaries. And if you haven't listened to those, go back and listen to them. They're so fucking good. I got so many people that, reached out to me and said how amazing those podcasts about boundaries were, the 3-part series. Values boundaries. Number 8, she values boundaries. A person who creates, enforces, and values boundaries knows that not everyone should have all access pass to her life. A high-value woman knows that she needs to set healthy boundaries with herself and those around her so that she can take care and look after her mental health and always show up as the best version of herself. She knows that saying no is a full sentence. It's part of my book, guys. No is a complete sentence. I've done tons of podcasts about that too. She doesn't need to justify. She doesn't need to explain herself. No is no. And she also values the boundaries that other people have. That is so huge. Okay, number 9. I feel this in my bones. A high value woman does not conform to traditional and societal norms. You guys know me. I am the black sheep. I don't do 98% of what other people do. If everybody's going one way, I'm going the other. And honestly, if you listen to any of the great people that have been in self-development since Stoicism, they always say, whatever everybody's doing, do the opposite and you'll probably be on top. And it's so true. A high value woman doesn't try to look like anyone or act like anyone or show up like anyone but herself. So it makes sense that she doesn't conform to fit what a traditional norm is for women. And she definitely does not fall into any societal norms. She doesn't fit into a box, and she does not color in the lines. She makes her own rules. Her number 1 core desired feeling is freedom, and she lives by truth. She doesn't care to fit in with a crowd because she knows she belongs to and with herself. That's enough. That's it. Number 10, she's an empath. Okay. I know that a lot of people look down on being empathetic, but I truly believe if you work it the right way, it can be your absolute ambitious superpower. Having genuine empathy with people is quite something. And a high value woman has this quality in spades. She always allows people to feel heard and seen and loved and understood. And she always listens to them and interacts with them with no judgment, no criticism. She only shows up with patience and safety and words of affirmation. And it feels like she intuitively understands where people are coming from, and she can put herself in their shoes and relate to them. She also has the ability to say the right thing at the right time. Absolutely. Absolutely. Number 11. She's motivated, hardworking, and driven with a purpose. You guys, I can't tell you how much I value what people's purpose is on this earth. You have to know your purpose. The reason why you're depressed and anxious and you feel like shit all the time is because you don't know your purpose and you're not showing up in your purpose. Of course you're depressed. Of course you're anxious. You're not doing what God put you here to do. And a high value woman is someone who knows her purpose in life. She doesn't think it's something grand like being a queen or owning her own island or running a Fortune 500 company. It does not have to be about any of that. Her purpose can be something as insignificant, and I'm using my quotation fingers because nothing is insignificant. Everyone, there's a seat for every ass, right? As being a happy stay-at-home mom, running a small urban fruit and veggie farm, or making candles. You guys, all those things are needed and valued and important. Okay. I think that the toxicity of the girl boss era is finally dying. Thank God. And I'm going to be honest with you. I am definitely a culprit of falling into that girl bossing toxicity. But in the last couple of years, and I don't know if it was because the pandemic slowed us down and I just focused on other things, but I feel happier when I'm cooking for my husband, when I'm in my garden, when I'm working with my clients. I can't really see myself being like a CEO of a Fortune 500 company or, something like that. That doesn't, just because you're not Kim Kardashian doesn't mean that you're not important. And I want people to really get that through their heads, because I feel like so many women I speak to is like, they feel like they're so insignificant and then they're not worthy because they're a stay-at-home mom. I'm like, what is more important than being a mom and raising the next generation of amazing children that's going to run our world and run our country? To me, there's nothing more important. Number 12, she's an expert in more than one thing. Okay. That doesn't mean she's the jack of all trades or the Julie of all trades or whatever and the master of none. She's the master of many things. She's got skills. She isn't scared to try new things or try out a unique hobby or step outside her comfort zone. And whatever she does with interest, curiosity, dedication, and passion. That is so big. I feel like we've been kind of pigeonholed to say, like, you just choose this one thing and that's what you do. And I have a lot of things that I love. I mean, you can just listen to this podcast from the beginning. I love to garden. I love self-development. I love to golf. I love music. I love family. I love friends. I love having, just laying outside at night and watching the stars and knowing like what the constellations are and just like little tiny things like that. But it just makes me and other women like me more interesting, just more interesting, more fun, right? Number 13 is she is completely comfortable with who she is at any given moment. So even if you're overweight, even if you're not feeling so fresh right now, even if you don't feel beautiful right now, you still love yourself. And okay, if I feel fat right now, I need to watch what I eat. I need to work out. I need to move my body. I need to take my vitamins. I need to hydrate. Okay. If you don't like the way you look, maybe you need to go to someone to teach you how to do your makeup properly or your hair properly, or go to a stylist to help you find like what your style is. I know these things are all three-dimensional things that I'm talking about, but I think it's really important. I think we as women, we hit a certain age and we just give up. And it's like, I want to be a 90-year-old, still have hair as black as night and full makeup and just dressing in my ultimate muumuu and like doing my thing. And I still want to be hot for my age. That's my dream. Being comfortable is so important. There's nothing worse than feeling uncomfortable in your own skin. So she knows who she is as a woman, and she knows where she fits in with her family and her friends and society, and also who she is to her partner or lovers. She's comfortable with being sexual, and she isn't shy to tell her romantic partner what she likes and how she likes it. Okay. So many of you out there are like, I have the most vanilla sex with my husband. It's so boring. I'm like, whose fault is that? Come on. You know, maybe you don't feel good about yourself and maybe that's why. Or maybe you're not attracted to your husband because he got fat and he looks like shit and he's hairy, right? He might have some hemorrhoids. I don't fucking know what you're into, but you may that if you're a high value woman, you look at your husband and say, listen, fatty, you're letting yourself go. I have conversations like that with my husband all the time. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And he'll do the same to me. And that is why I love him so much. Like, we're not afraid to just talk shit. And I want people to tell me when I'm not showing up the way I need to be. You know, it doesn't feel good, but guess what? It's important. Number 14, a high value woman is persistent. She has drive and motivation and determination, and she's persistent. And she knows that only persistence and focus are going to get her where she desires to go in her life, right? She knows exactly how to balance the dedication and the passion and the patience. And these traits make her value add when it comes to romantic relationships, friendships, and coworkers and colleagues. And it's so true. And the last thing is a high value woman is honest. They're honest. And as we all know, honesty is an essential aspect of any healthy relationship. And a high value woman is honest beyond measure. While they can be brutally honest at times, and I know that I can, and I know a lot of people that are high value women that I'm friends with also can be brutally honest, they also know how hurtful the truth can be. So they deliver it in a kind and thoughtful manner. There's no harm in telling a white lie or omitting the truth, and a woman of high value knows how to balance the honesty scale with respect, kindness, and understanding. She speaks and she always tells her truth. And you don't have to worry that she'll try to play mind games with you or gaslight you or manipulate you. These things are beneath her because she's a woman of integrity. Her word is her bond, and she wears it like a badge of honor. Oh, so good, right? So, you know, being a high value woman, being an ambitious woman, being the head bitch in control of your high value life is about valuing yourself and seeing where you fit in and where you don't. And if you don't fit in somewhere, guys, don't try to make yourself, whittle yourself to fit that hole. There's plenty of other holes in there. There's plenty of other holes in the world to fit yourself into. Believe me. I don't know. This is something so important to me. I really desire deeply for everyone out there to step into their power, to remember why God put them on this earth, and to become a high value, ambitious woman. I really do believe that should be, as women, our main focus in life. Because the more work you put into yourself as a project, everyone else and everything else around you will go with your flow and it will vibrate to your frequency. And the things that don't get up there are going to fall away naturally. And how dope is that? I would love to hear what you guys thought about this High Value Woman podcast. Please email me at help@kbmfc.com if you want to have a conversation. Also, don't forget to get on over to get your freebie on the Ambitious app. I always love women to come over there and try it before they buy it because I know that they're going to fall in love with everything that we're doing over there on the Ambitious app. And I'm also opening my books up to 2 new mentorship clients. And what I usually do is when I open my books up to mentorship clients, first I want to get on a call with them and I want to have a serious conversation to see if I can help them, what their goals, dreams, aspirations are, and to also see if we would be a good fit to working together. So if you have always dreamt of working with me one-on-one, I'm now opening my books for 2 new amazing ladies to come on and do Ambitious mentorship one-on-one coaching with me. But again, first we have to have a conversation to see if I can actually help you. So you can email me at help@kbmfc.com so we can set up a time for us to speak to see if it's a good fit. I'm really excited about that. And if you're in the local area of Hudson, New Hampshire, I would love to have you come and try out some free classes at Katie Boyd's Misfit Club to see if it's a good fit for you. And I would love to help you achieve all of your wellness goals at Katie Boyd's Misfit Club. So just email me at help@kbmfc.com. And if you think that this podcast is valuable and is going to help people, don't forget to share it on your social media. Extra points if you tag me in your stories or your post. And like I always say, don't forget to stay ambitious. And I'll see you next Tuesday.